Okay, so pre-production. Obviously, to thoroughly plan and prepare for production, which involves creating these 3 documents. Assign key production roles as well: director, producer, camera operator, depending on how large a team you're going to be working with. Some of those roles might need to be doubled up. And then depending on the individuals involved in those teams, some might sort of, keep hold of their director hat very tightly. Some might be slightly more collaborative in their working processes. It's a really good way of kind of getting individuals working creatively in teams like that. Obviously, communication, collaboration, all of those kind of skills, all their absences come up. So script, storyboard and shot list in that order. Obviously, there's an industry standard for script writing. It's worldwide. It's international language of script formatting. You have a scene heading with scene numbers, which will have int or ext for interior or exterior, so inside or outside, and then a brief description of where that location is, and some indication of the time of day. You change scene, you need to put in a new scene heading every time you change location. Okay, so when you first introduce a character, they should be capitalised, and a very brief description of what they look like. And then a few lines describing the location that we're in. So all action descriptions of what we see, should be left aligned. And then all dialogue is centre aligned, with the name of the character who's speaking capitalised. Often I get students saying, well, there's no dialogue in this scene, so what should I write? Film is a visual medium. I know you guys are doing languages, and so it's important what people are saying, but film is a visual medium, and 90%, 80%, 70% on some films, less, what we see on a film is what we're looking at and what we're hearing, which isn't always dialogue, is it? It's sound effects, ambient sounds, hums of projectors, outside road noise coming in from outside. All these things build atmosphere, and they give us oral and visual indicators about kind of mood and emotion and atmosphere, and you can build up tension through sound effects and describing the scene. What does something look like? What is it that we're seeing? What is it that we're hearing? Are the questions that you always need to be asking. Good script writing on a sort of creative level is really trying to keep your dialogue down to an absolute minimum. There's still room for language in other ways, potentially, through using signs or things like this. And the other thing is the font to use. So Courier, always Courier. Courier New, if you want to be a little bit out there. Location and scene. You describe your location, scene headings. Brief descriptions when you're talking about your characters. Of course, then you have the idea of a scenario or a story. You probably use scenarios, when you're maybe doing role play or something, and you might be able to take a particular scenario that you've used in a role play kind of context and build that up into, a more developed sort of story or something. Once the script's been written, a nice thing to do after that, and what professionals do, is have a read-through. Again, so that's a really good kind of verbal listening kind of exercise in the context of language tuition. Just generally in filmmaking, it's a really important moment where you get to put your script on its feet, as it were, get to hear the words that have been written. Because obviously writing dialogue is a very specific skill, very different from the spoken word in prose that's designed to be read, and writing for any kind of script format, such as radio or TV or film, where those words actually have to be spoken and have to sound convincing and believable. And obviously with languages, you've got this extra dimension of pronunciation and stuff to think about too, and making sure that that's right. So as having a script read-through is a nice kind of classroom activity.